G'day guys, welcome back to another one of our lure making videos. This is what we are making. We are making a glide bait. Been on the big baits lately, and with winter around, cod fishing is heating up, so thought what better time to stick to the bigger baits and let's make a glide bait. Now I have made glide baits in the past, never really been happy with my action, but since then I've obviously learned a lot of things and I'm pretty confident we can get this thing to swim exactly like a real glide bait needs to swim. Now typically a glide bait is designed to either glide side to side with the twitch of the rod tip or the handle, or on a gentle slow retrieve it will just weave side to side. Now the key I've worked out with glide baits is they need to be weighted exactly perfectly. They need to almost suspend. So what we want this lure to do is we want it to sit below the surface, say that 6-8 inches, and suspend. And when you do that twitch of the handle or the rod tip, it'll just glide one way and glide the other way. And it'll sit there, it won't sink, it'll basically suspend. If anything, slow float or super slow sink, but we basically want that bait to sit stationary in the water. So let's get into it. Let's make this glide bait. He is taking shape. Just drew a little bit of detail on there. I think I'm gonna carve this one. I didn't think I was going to start with. So we're gonna do some detail in him. So that's sanded up nice. It's not a final sand, but it's enough for now. Just chop that little mouth in there. That little mouth looks bloody cool. Just gonna put the tail in him now, and that'll be enough for tonight. That's enough for tonight. So I said I was going to bed, but I got a little carried away. Alrighty guys, we are back, and that's the carving we've just finished. What I've done is I've traced that to the best of my ability on the other side. Now I've just freehand traced that. I've just eyed it up. I was going to do a paper trace, but I was pretty comfortable that I got that pretty accurate. And actually, as it's worked out, I'm looking in the viewfinder of the camera now at what you can see, my pen line, and then I'm actually looking here on my side of my carving. That was an absolute pure accident, but I'm telling you, it's pretty damn close. So I'm going to get in and start carving this here now. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I am not a great carver by any means, but practice doesn't necessarily make perfect. Practice makes you better, so the more times you do it, the better and better you're going to get. Originally we hadn't planned on carving this, but like a really high-end bait, and so far it's got all the characteristics of an absolute cracking glide bait. Now, if you're a little unsure on what makes that perfect glide bait, or what is a glide bait, I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are actually saying, what is a glide bait? We have no idea. What is the difference between a glide bait and a swim bait? Well, the simple difference is a swim bait normally has a bib and has multiple joints, and it'll snake through the water. Better still, let me give you a couple examples. This one I have here in my hand is a Jackall bone breaker. Now, bone breaker, I think that's what they're called. Bone breaker, jaw breaker, something like that. Now, that is a typical swim bait. Multiple joints, it's got a big bib, can be called a wake bait, but that is typically what a swim bait is. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is a bit of a prized possession of mine. Now, there would be people out there that would know the brand Roman Made. Roman Made are a famous company all over the world for creating super high-end timber glide bait to the highest quality you've ever seen before. This little baby there is a Roman made. That one is a Mother, I'm pretty sure it's called. Someone will correct me. It's either Mother or a Negotiator. It's one of those two. I can't quite remember, but that is a typical glide bait. Now, as you see, it's got the one joint, no bib. So what this lure is designed to do, like I said earlier, is glide. And then glide back the other way. And then glides. That is what we're replicating. Not the Roman made, of course, we're doing our own style, but the glide bait idea. That is what a glide bait is. That is what this lure is going to do. Pretty similar from that side to that side. Drill the eye sockets here now. And then we're going to basically joint him and get onto putting the lead in, which is the absolute crucial part. Now, this is probably about the only time you'll see me measuring something like this. Because it's a glide bait, we need this to be absolutely bang on, otherwise it's not going to glide. So, anything I've said about don't measuring and drawing lines, that's out the window with glide baits, because this needs to be absolutely spot on. That is seriously cool. He's all put together, just ready for some lead now. This is really trial and error. I'm going to have a bucket of water here set up. That's an absolute pure and simple guess. We're just going to try it out. We'll have a go. Okay. Way more lead. Getting closer. Oh, that's close. Decisions, because I know we're going to add a bit with the glue and the baking soda and the paint and the clear, but I reckon we just need a fraction more in him. Alright, this is exactly what we wanted. It's just popping off the bottom, it's just sitting there perfect. Now, the time I put paint on that clear and bog up the holes, if it sinks ever so slightly, I've actually gone a bigger split ring, so I've done that on purpose. So if need be, I can drop back to the next size down split ring, which is still going to be sufficient for these cod, big flathead, whatever I'm going to use it on, but it's going to just let it rise up that little bit. So I've been a little bit sneaky in that aspect. I've gone bigger, which is fine, but if I need to I can change the small line, which will just rise it back up that little bit. So the last thing I want it to sink, I can't take weight out of it, but I can have the split ring, so that's what we're going to do. That thing's ready to go. I'm so happy with it. Yeah, it looks like a weapon. Next thing is I'm going to let this dry out for a couple of days now, or overnight at least. Fill it all up, give it a last sand. I'm going to swim it, because definitely want to make sure it swims. And then you know what's next, painting. We're back into our cool seal it and prime. Now I've put a lot of work into this thing. Normally you just would seal and prime and it's done, but what I've kept doing is I kept cleaning out the gill sockets. I've sanded up all the gill sockets, so that bait is 100% glossy, beautiful, ready to go. Because your primer sealer fills them up, and I just still wanted that depth there when I paint it. You still wanted that look and effect of the gills nice and deep. So little knife, kept cleaning, folding up sandpaper. So it has been a bit of a process, but we're ready to paint this thing today. Gonna paint this thing white, get it all ready to go. Pearl whited him all up there, and as you can see, those gills are looking fantastic. So I had anticipated in doing a cod trip tomorrow, but good old COVID struck, and can't make that trip unfortunately. So the coloration for this lure has changed a little bit, so I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get to codfish. So I was going to paint this a cool spangled perch kind of pattern. So now most likely this lure is going to get thrown at a big flathead, so we're going to paint like a natural mullety sort of pattern. I've got a bit of an idea. We might throw some pearl blues and purples through, a bit of a shad mullet sort of pattern, so I can still throw it at the cod, but really good chance of catching a big flathead. So I'm going to put down some a base black over his back here now to base all the scales off. We'll do that now. To start, work with that. All scaled up there, ready to go, got the mesh all on him. So that mesh is not going to come off now until we're finished. I'm going to leave that on and paint all my colours through it. So all the colours are basically in the scale pattern there. We get that backing pearl white and black come through the scales. So just going to put a little bit of light silver down on him. So then when I put my colours down, like this shaddy sort of pattern, they'll really pop off that silver. So I'm just going to put a bit of light silver. I'm just going to put a little bit of elegance, it's called. It's just like a bluey gold. I'm just going to put that just over the back, and then we'll start fading in our colours on the rest of the scales. Can't really see through the mesh, but they've gone on there. Alright, now we are really making this up as we go along. Some colours down. It's really going to be a big surprise when we pull this mesh off, but I just say it's going to be like a bit of that shaddy sort of pattern, maybe a bit of a wakasagi now. I'm going to put a bit of plum purple now just on the bottom half. Now I'm just going to put it through the bottom section. You can see with the black differentiate, bloody word again, differentiate. I'm going to Google that before we do the next video. Differentiate, separate. We'll just use separate. Now you can see where the black separates from the white. Below that line we're going to just mist in this light purple. So oh yeah, that looks bloody killer. That looks sensational. You see it's starting to take some shape now. It already looks cool. Now I'm thinking a bit of a lateral line. Naturally chartreuse springs to mind, but I'm just thinking maybe something a little bit different, like a bit of maybe an AU lateral line. Nah, let's do chartreuse lateral line. Let's do that now. A lateral line down along that sort of... Hopefully it doesn't stuff it. I reckon that's probably enough. You can see it there, that's all we want. Yeah, that looks good, I reckon. Just going to put what's called a bit of fast back green, just like a bit of metallic-y bluey green, just on our back. We don't want to come down the sides, I just want it on this back section. Base colours are down. You can't really see through that mesh, but I think it's going to look pretty cool. Now, this is either going to make or break this lure. It's a gamble, but hey, that's what lure making's all about. I think I'm going to throw a pearl white scale over the top of the mesh, so you're still going to get the mesh pattern in there, but you're going to get like a little overlay of the pearl white scale. It's either that or a pattern. I'm just undecided. We're just going to think about this for a minute. Alright. We've even gone more left field. I'm going to throw a drip pattern. Super risky, but I think it's going to look pretty cool. We're just going to do a bit of a drip pattern down over the back. Alright, that thing looks absolutely sensational. I cannot wait to take this off. I reckon it's going to look great. That's the beauty of painting stuff, and you don't really have to match anything. Like, I've done a paint job there that I haven't really done before, and it is really Japanese influenced, and that is going to look awesome. So let's unwrap him, and then we've still got a fair bit of work. I want to do some gill detail on that, but let's unwrap him now. Check that out. That looks unreal. Super happy with that. This is a high-end lure. There's a lot of hours in this, like it's an expensive lure if I was to sell it, and there's no good doing a cheap paint job on it. So very happy with how this is turning out. Alright, I'm just putting a little pearl white pattern just over the gills. It just breaks up my colour there. It just makes it look a little bit more natural, like gill plates. Looks pretty awesome. It's come up a treat. Can't really see, of course, in this light like normal, but we'll get some clear on him. Like usual, I forgot the eyes, so let's pick some eyes. Here he is, all finished. Check that out. Now, this isn't your typical end of one of our lure making videos. Normally I'll be down a lovely river, filming it, droning it. The river's in flood still. It's blowing 30 kilometers an hour wind. Can't get the drone up, so this is just what we're gonna deal with. But on the weekend I did go and fish this. I tried to catch a big flathead on it. Didn't happen, spooked a lot of flathead. Wasn't the best conditions, but I'll drop in here now a little bit of the action, because I really want you guys to check this action out, because this thing is exactly what we wanted. It's so sunk to start with, but I changed the trebles. Got this thing to suspend absolutely how we want it now. You didn't see the glue up process. I didn't worry about the glue up process because you've seen that in the last few videos. It's not rocket science. We wanted to, didn't want to bore you with that again, but check it out. It has come up like an absolute treat. Absolutely blown away with it. The action's exactly what we wanted. In the next couple of weeks, I am planning on going and doing a little cod trip, so hopefully I can catch some fish on it. We'll do another little video and show you guys it catching some fish. But that's a wrap on this video. You would have just checked out the action of what you could get. It was a little bit tricky to try and film that off the chest cam. But overall, I'm gonna give this lure, we're gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Very, very happy with it. The action's perfect. I'm just going to give myself 1 mark down just because there was a few little blemishes in the clear coat, but overall it's a cracking lure. It's going to catch great fish. It does the gliding action perfectly on the twitch of the rod tip or the handle. I prefer to do the handle twitch, but it works either way. So guys, if you've enjoyed this lure build on this cracking glide bait, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you want me to build next. Thanks heaps guys, enjoyed making this one. We'll catch you on the next one.